Hello, bookworms, bibliophiles, and lovers of all things literature. Welcome to the next chapter of the Braless Book Guild podcast, where we discard our bras and write secret little notes in books to each other and talk about books, both published and unpublished. We are your hosts, Jenna. Hi. Marissa.
Hello.
I'm Megan. And we have a special guest today, Angela.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the podcast, Angela.
This is exciting. Thanks for having me.
Before we get started, let's talk about what we're drinking. I am drinking the Sea Witch tea, and it's another one of those Owl Crate ones. I think we mentioned it in a previous podcast or previous episode. Angela, what are you drinking?
I am drinking an old classic for me. It's called Ginger Honeycomb. It's from the tea shop that Jenna and I actually used to work at.
Fun. I'm actually drinking it as well. I forgot how much I love it. It's a nice smooth tea, and so we just made a pot, and Angela and I are sharing.
Very nice. And Marissa?
I'm drinking the mint medley from Bigelow, I believe.
So, the reason we have a special guest today is because we are going to be talking about books that we have been exchanging throughout the entire year of 2023. And now that the year is pretty much over, we've all finished up all of our books, and we're ready to talk about them. So, to get a little bit more in-depth, last year we all decided to buy each other each one book. So we each bought each other a book, and then we received 3 books from each other. And while we were kind of going through, I said, next year what we should do is we should annotate the books for each other and then give them to each other. And then as we were kind of looking at each book, we said, there's one book from each of our stacks that none of us have read. So why don't we exchange them? And so Angela had her book for 3 months and then passed it to me. And then I had it for 3 months and annotated it and wrote little comments in it. And then I passed it to Jenna, and then Jenna passed it. And we had 4 books that we did that. So why don't we each introduce our book? Let's start with Marissa. What was your book that we read?
Okay, so my book is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry.
Quick question, who gave it to you?
Jenna gave it to me.
No, I think it was Megan.
Megan gave it to me. I don't remember. I
just wanted to put you on the spot because I was trying to remember who gave me each book unto.
The way you looked at me just then was who gave it to you? It was definitely me. Pick me. And I'm I don't know. This was last year. I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
I think it was almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah, almost.
Give or take a week, yeah.
Yeah, it was right before we did the Secret Santa, too.
Right.
So that was part of it.
Jenna, what was your book?
My book was How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
It's by Kay Easton.
Who gave it to you?
Marissa gave it to me. I do remember this one.
And Angela.
So I had Beneath the Haunting Sea by Joanna Ruth Meyer. And I want to say Jenna was the one who gave it to me.
I think I did.
And then I had The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I think Marissa was the one who gave it to me.
I was just choosing everybody's books.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Jenna, you won the rock, paper, scissors game, so you get to go first. So tell us about your book, and then we can all kind of discuss how we felt about it.
So the premise of my book is that it's supposed to be a modern sci-fi galactical fairy tale with a modern twist, a feminist modern twist to a fairy tale and science fiction tropes while presenting an intergalactic adventure that enthralls in its own right. And I think that's what kind of sold Marissa on it, because I'm a big fairy tale person, and I like sci-fi. Obviously, we're all women here, so who doesn't like a little bit of feminism in their fairy tales? So the idea of it was that Rory Thorne was the classic princess of her own, and this is where sci-fi gets kind of complicated because it's
Thorn Kingdom in space.
Yeah, it's like a kingdom in space. So it's not just a world; it's like a kingdom of different planetary and satellite systems. But she's the princess, and she was the firstborn, and obviously not a son, and therefore a complete disappointment, but totally useful as a marriage pawn, because that's what happens for princesses. And she gets blessed with 13 fairy gifts, but one of them is a curse. And then she enters into this whole arranged marriage, and the 13 curses are supposed to kind of play into it, which I feel like I'm explaining this and I haven't read it in a year, and all I remember is they didn't.
No, one of definitely did. The final one definitely did.
The cursed one, the 13th one or whatever.
The 12th one was the curse.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then the 13th
12th
was bravery.
Yeah, the 13th was bravery, and the 12th one was the curse of being able to, like, see through what people are mean to, like, what they're saying to you, but being able to see through it's, like, pretty much the BS. And it plays up a lot. Like, it does come up a lot, but it just didn't feel like as big of a thing for me as I wanted it to be, I guess. But anyway, guys, what did you guys think of this book?
I'm going to jump in and just say your description of being like an intergalactic adventure is very much an understatement. Or overstatement, I should say.
Yes.
There was no adventure.
Nope.
She went, it was like, took place in 2 places, and that was it.
Yeah. Like, and I feel like the majority of the book was like in the living room of her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the place that she was staying. You can't even call it a house because it was like a wing of the space station or whatever. Like,
my biggest thing with that book was that, like you were saying, it was set up to be this big adventure and stuff like that, and it had so much potential in everything that it did, and it never did anything with that potential, where it's like, they had this really cool, like, magic/hacking system that was described very boringly, and this really cool, like, my favorite part of it was every time she would, like, read somebody, and they'd say, like, what they said, and then what they actually meant right after, and I thought that was awesome, but then, like Jenna said, it kind of barely came into play during it.
I felt like the whole plot of this book took forever to become a plot. It was quirky and interestingly written. Her verbiage was fun, although sometimes because it was over the top, you got lost in it. But due to that, like, the book was all there for the verbiage. It was all there so that she'd have an interesting way of writing this story. And the plot felt like 3/4 of the way through, we were like,
it picked up.
Oh crap, this is what is actually happening. And everything's going to happen in the last quarter of the book. But at the same time, because it's taking you so long to get through it, you kind of just don't care.
well, and I feel like, too, like, that last quarter wasn't what I thought was going to happen. So, like, you kind of get this problem that happens in, the first 50 to 75 pages of the book or whatever, and you're like, ooh, okay, so we think we're going to go in this direction. And then they don't talk about it for another 150 pages, and now we've got this climax that had nothing to do with the adventure we thought we would have.
Right.
And run-on sentences for days. I could not. You could ask my poor boyfriend who sat next to me as I read this thing as I just moaned. He's like, okay, how many pages is this paragraph now?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I did not like this book.
It was really hard to get through. Even I enjoyed her writing. There was so much of it that I wish went better. Because I think that and I don't know, I probably should have looked this up. I think this might be a debut book for her. For him.
No, she was a middle grade author.
Oh, okay.
And then she hopped into this. So I just want to like quickly hop in just to explain to the listeners. This book is written like a Jane Austen novel in that everything is very specifically chosen and written in this very superfluous, like beautiful way, but where Jane Austen does it where it all means something, she just seems to do it just to be like, yeah, it's a fantasy book in space written like a Jane Austen novel.
Right. It's like, it feels more like it was written to be written this way. Like, she wanted to have this certain voice for this book. But I think that if the plot had been developed better and the character building had been developed better, then I might have enjoyed it more than if she just focused completely on how to write this. I really wanted more interesting stuff with her mother. I wanted more interesting stuff with Grit, who was like her handmaid, who was like protected her and half bionic. I wanted fun, interesting things to happen between them, but instead it was like, oh, I'm this strong princess who doesn't want to be stuck in an arranged marriage, but I'm totally going to do it for the, safety of my kingdom. And then I'm going to figure out what happened to this Prince Ivar, who, by the way, that's the whole idea, is that she's engaged to this Prince Ivar, and something's wrong with him, whereas there's this regent who took over when the prince and when the family, the king and the queen and everyone else was killed. And so he's taking over until the prince comes of age.
But nobody's seen Ivar.
No one's seen Ivar.
The incident.
He was out on the serving his time with the military,
Quote,
supposedly.
unquote.
For 10 years.
And so it's like, and then there's all these weird things that are going on, but it's almost like the book focused too much on the, like, what should have been backstory and not enough on the, like, plot of it to, like, keep things going on. And then it's like, oh, and then suddenly we're just going to throw a love interest in here for her. Like,
oh my God.
At the very end, because that's what happens in fairy tales. Like, the princess ends up with the prince, but the prince is a mess, so we're not going to end up with him. So here's the love interest, which, all of it, none of it worked well. I just didn't like this book either.
I think the story itself, if the writing had been better, would have been a lot of fun. Especially like a fairy tale in space. And I think my biggest hang up was that the writing was just so intense that half the time, if I'm not paying attention because she's writing stuff that's not important, but then like, oh, here's this one sentence in the middle of this entire paragraph of not important stuff that is important that you should pay attention to.
Yeah.
And like, oh, you missed, like, I didn't know that she sent Jade, who's the love interest, off, right, I guess not, well, the eventual love interest, off with basically, the space Scottish people.
Right.
Yeah. I missed that part when he showed up at the wedding, was just like, here's the proof. And I was like, wait, where has he been this entire time? Oh, there was that one tiny sentence.
Yes.
I think that's the thing, that's part of what we were talking about, where it's like it got to the last quarter where it got interesting. And I think I'm the opposite of you guys as far as, like, I liked, like Jenna was saying, the verbiage and the wording of it. And I liked all the, like, the sentences were pretty and everything like that. And I really liked it. That's what I enjoyed. And I'm pretty sure I texted Jenna at one point, and I'm all like, here's the thing. I enjoy reading this. I don't enjoy the book. Because I liked what I was reading, but it just felt like it was dragging on and nothing was happening. And I was like, she's sitting in her room for like 4 chapters.
Yep.
And I want to know what's happening with Grit, who's breaking somebody out of prison somewhere.
Exactly.
But no, we're just going to sit in our room for 4 hours.
Basically, once Grit and the Rupert, the vizier, he left, I was like, yeah, tell me what happens with them. And it was like, no, they're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, there's an entire story with that and where they ended up with and how they ended up, like,
saving the day.
And it's like, hold up, why? Like, I feel like this was a story that could have been like, oh, okay, so here's this massive thing that happens, and then here's what happens to the lay people while the big thing is going on in the background. Like, that could make for a really good story. Right. But I don't, just the main story, I didn't care enough about the main characters, and I didn't really care that she was sitting in the living room for...
None of us did.
4 chapters.
No. The pacing was just wrong. If the pacing had equaled out better, I think it would have been a much better story, and they used more potential. They used the potential that they put out there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like Marissa. I liked the verbiage. I liked how it was written. But I think that because she went into such detail of like wanting to explain, this is a really she explained the backstory too much, I think. She wanted to set up this world and their magic system / science system, because this explains like it's not magic.
Or religion.
Which
I think also came up at one point.
Yeah. What's interesting is that the magic system was called arithmancy.
Yeah.
So it's like math.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But then the science is called hex, which is like magic.
I love that.
Yes.
I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what the pharma something was, the doctor stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did think that was, so there's like a lot of really cool, like, small things that I really like. But yeah, just overall, just the writing was just intense.
I liked the writing with Marissa. I like that. I just wish that it had matched the pace. I think that, unfortunately, the beautiful writing with not a strong driven plot just made it very easy for me to put down and not want to pick it up again. And if the pace of the plot had been like, I have to know what's going on, I have to know what's happening next, then I really would have enjoyed all of it. But unfortunately, like, the plot just felt like, oh, it's interesting in the first, 75 pages, and it's kind of interesting in the last 75 pages, but everything in between I don't care about. It made it very easy. It took me probably a month and a half to read this book. It was a long time.
Yeah.
It's really funny because I remember before we decided to do this where we just swapped the books around, the reason why I bought Jenna that book was because I had picked it up at the store, and I'm like, this sounds really interesting. I know it's going to be a heterosexual romance. Maybe I'll give it to Jenna, and if Jenna says I'll still like it, then she'll do it.
This is ironic. That's what I do to you with lesbian romances.
That's what I was going to say, because we brought that up, that Jenna does it. She'll pick this book up, and she'll be like, oh, this is good. It's gay. I'll make Marissa read it first. Tell me if it's worth reading. So it's like I did that.
The last time we were book shopping, there was a blind date with a book. And Jenna picked it up and was like, Marissa, I want you to buy this. And Marissa was like, do you want me to buy it for me, or do you want me to buy it for you? And Jenna was like, yes. That's exactly it.
Why not both?
I think at the end of this, we all did star ratings.
Yep.
I'm curious what you guys all gave the star ratings. Or should I just read everyone? Did everyone put what star ratings in it?
I actually didn't finish my annotation, my little thing on the end, because I finished it on the way here.
Oh, no. I'm very curious to see what mine is, because I'm curious to see if it's the same as what I think I rated.
Yeah, no one except for Megan put stars, because I think that Megan's actually experienced in this, and none of us were prepared with stars. But yeah, so go ahead and tell me what your guys' star ratings. Start with Marissa.
Oh, I don't want to start with me. Why do you guys always choose me to start for everything? It's always, hey, Marissa, choose the trope that we want first.
Let's start with Megan.
Let's pick me. I gave it a 3 stars. It wasn't as bad as a lot of the other books that I read this year, but it wasn't obviously my favorite.
Yeah.
So I think there was potential there, but the end result could have been better.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I gave it a 2. Much for the same reasons. I feel like my judgments are much harsher based off of everybody's ratings in the back of these books. But anyway, yeah, I gave it a 2 because just, like I said, it was really hard to pick up again once I put it down, but then it was also really hard for me to push myself through it.
Yep.
It was really wordy, which can be okay, but it was, and it's definitely not one I would pick up and not a series that I want to continue.
That's fair. Marissa?
Yeah, I think I gave it a 3 as well. As Megan, I think, like I was saying, if it was paced better, it would have brought it up a lot more, and if I liked the plot better, then I would like it a lot more. I liked the world, I liked the language that she used, and I honestly, I liked a lot of the characters, not to a full extent, but enough. But yeah, it was hard to pick back up at some points because it just got boring.
I think I'd probably give it a 3, maybe a 3.5, because I do think that her writing was very beautiful. It was very descriptive and very interesting. The plot just did not pull me in. I know that she is having a second book for this series, and I almost wonder if I'd like the second book more, because at that point she's already built the world. So I think I'd give it a 3.5 on the stipulation that if I ever do decide to read the second book, maybe it'll be better.
Fair enough.
All right, so our next book is Angela's.
So Beneath the Haunting Sea. Oh man, where do I start with this one? So Talia is living life of nobility. So her mom and the emperor call her in, and she finds out that her father is not her real father. The emperor is actually her father.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so she's set to inherit, and they're going to announce that at a party. Then one thing leads to another. They're at the party. She's freaking out. And her rival, who only shows up at the beginning of this book, storms in with a bunch of guards and says she's a traitor. She claims to be the emperor's daughter. That's not true. I am the rightful empress. And Talia and her mom get banished to, oh man.
It's a manor.
It's a manor, yeah. And it's like the equivalent of England.
He's a baron.
Yeah. So it's one of those books that is written like in an alternate universe where Talia came from India and essentially moved to what would be probably considered Wales. But yeah, into a manor with a baron where there are 2 sons. When the cute little shy boy who supposedly sees the future, and Caden, the hot-headed, good-looking older brother who's set to inherit. And through all this, there's some sort of mystery going on. Talia keeps hearing the sea calling to her, and she wants to go, but her mother, who threw herself into the ocean on the ship ride over to supposedly calm a storm, told her don't ever give in to those voices. And so it's the story of her trying to resist the call of the sea, eventually kind of giving in, and the unfolding of the legend therein, and her part in that, and when coming alongside her to assist her.
Really well summarized.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel like I read the book.
And that was beneath the haunting scene.
And that was
so I was the most recent one to read this. So it's a bit more fresh in my mind. I think this book, the legend, the lore, and the adventure part really pulled me in, really intrigued me. Every single time that one of the guys was mentioned in it, I'm like, I just want to skip this paragraph or this chapter.
Yeah.
I could not stand the love triangle. I couldn't stand the, like, political drama and all of that stuff. That did not interest me at all. If they removed that, this book would have been a whole lot better, in my opinion. Because everything about the lore, I loved every chapter where it was her reading a story about it.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
I loved that part. Could not stand anything else.
I feel like so Joanna Ruth Meyer is an author I found about a year and a half ago, and she's becoming one of my favorites because of how she writes lore and magic and the world and like the effect it has on people. But yeah, in this one, I'm just like, why is there a love triangle?
It was so pointless.
Never been one before. So it makes me kind of wonder if like, is she writing this because she was asked to? If it's kind of expected, because I know love triangles are kind of, I don't want to say they're in right now because they've been in forever.
It's funny because, spoiler alert, I did not finish this book. I made it about a little over 100 pages in, and I just could not. I could not. And I had to look it up, and it's her first book. And I think that stopped me a lot because it read very much like the first book where an author wants to make their point, so like everything feels very forced.
That makes sense.
So because it's her first book, I wonder if she thought like, oh, people love love triangles.
Yeah.
And so this is what will sell, kind of thing. So I could see that kind of being a main play in that. But I hated the dialogue. I couldn't stand it. It felt like I want to make this point, but like when they introduced Ida, her like rival who kicked her out of the kingdom, like they introduced her, I almost thought that it was about to be a lesbian romance for a second. And this beautiful girl rides up, and it's like, and I was just like, oh, a beautiful girl. Like it seemed like a beautiful stranger rode up to like, and I was like, Angela picks this up? And then all of a sudden it's like, but I hate you. And I was like, wait, what? Like, why would you describe someone that you've known since you were forever to like be someone that, like, oh, she's so beautiful. Like, people I hate, I don't go, God, they're beautiful. I hate them. Like, but anyway, I'm sorry. That was just my little
that was what I was going to talk to you guys about when we first started. This was Jenna's annotation at the beginning when Ina was introduced. She's like, if this is Marissa's book, I would think this is the love interest. And then, like, throughout the whole first part of the book, when it's all like, oh, maybe it is, like, haters to lovers or rivals to lovers or whatever. And then we got to the part where she's like, I'm the Emperor's daughter. No, I'm the Emperor's daughter. I'm like, okay, now we're getting more into Cassandra Clare type stuff. This is weird.
Oh, we mentioned Cassandra Clare. Take a drink.
Take a drink.
Oh, this is a thing. Okay.
It is.
Jokingly mentioned it previously.
Yeah, we discussed because she comes up a lot.
I believe that.
And so we have to take a drink every time she comes up now. Of our non-alcoholic beverages.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was just really funny because, I mean, honestly, my favorite part of reading the book was reading everybody's annotations.
Yeah.
Because it was my last one, so I got everybody's annotations. And was just responding to them and putting my own input in at that.
Yeah, I did enjoy the annotations. I think it's harder for me, too, because reading a physical copy of a book has been hard with my son. So a lot of times I was reading through Kindle and then coming back and annotating and reading what you guys annotated. So I'd like read like 2 chapters when I got a chance when he was napping. And then when my husband would get home, I'd go back and I'd like read over what you guys said. But unfortunately, I just hated the book, so I couldn't get through it. But no, I think that Marissa was funny because she texted me and she goes, I think if you could get past the love triangle and the fact that the dialogue feels very forced, you would have really enjoyed the lore of this book. And I was like, I wish that I hadn't chose this author's first book as the book that I read of hers first, because maybe it would have been easier for me to read her book and enjoy it for what it is and get past it kind of the way I had to do with Sarah J. Maas and Throne of Glass, which took me 7 tries to get through.
I have others. I can loan you her other work.
If they're better and they don't feel forced, I will definitely give them a go.
I cannot off the top of my head think of another love triangle either, so.
Oh, beautiful. I like it.
So I have a lot to say about this book as well. I think that this book could have been really good as like a courtly intrigue where she's trying to get her throne back. That would have been awesome. Or as also her suddenly being banished to this manor and there's like secrets like a Jane Eyre kind of thing where she could have like figured out the secrets of the manor. Or as a fantasy action adventure where she's trying to give the throne back to the god or whatever. So that was my thing, was that it's 3 very intense stories kind of smushed into one where I feel like it couldn't really decide what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
And it wanted to be everything. And then also throwing in the random love triangle, which I saw coming from a mile away because you have this soft boy that she is betrothed to or forced to marry. And then suddenly here comes the dark and brooding older brother. And I was just like, oh my God, here we go. And she was just so, like, the character was just so mean to Wen for, like, absolutely no reason. And I understand, like, yes, you're betrothed to him because you've been ousted out of your own kingdom in a coup, but there is no reason for you to be mean to him when he is nothing but nice to you. Granted, when he did see her, he's like, you can't be here.
Okay,
yeah.
I have to say, because you said this and I'm like over here like, oh my God, I forgot to say what I have to say. This book, it felt so, like, yes, there was like 4 different stories, but it was like, the book starts, it's like, I'm running away from the palace and living a life of, like, happiness on my horse, but I have to go back because my mom summoned me and she's going to come back and drag me by my ear. I shouldn't be riding horses when I have to meet with the emperor. And so it's like, she didn't want to be this royal princess, and then it's like, you are the heir to the throne because you're the emperor's child, and she's just like, what? I am not, I have my own father. And then it's like, we can't tell anyone about this, but somehow everyone knows because they're fitting them out for her out with a crown. So like all the servants know, but you can't tell your best friend, so don't share it with anyone. So then when it's like, surprise, the emperor can't show up to claim you as his child at this party, and this whole coup happens. I'm like, okay, 1, you don't even want to be the empress,
Right?
So
yeah.
what does it matter? 2, like, of course the emperor can't show up, so why are you claiming it yourself? And then like 3, why is this even happening? This
Right.
whole story could have happened if that entire chunk of this book hadn't happened. If she had just been a noble girl whose mom died and she had to go live with this long-lost relative or whatever, that entire story could have still happened without the first chunk of this entire beginning of the story where I was like, and then it's happening and I'm like, what was the point of all of that?
So that was my thing, was I thought the rest of the book was going to be her trying to get her throne back.
Yeah.
And then even when the older brother was like, hey, let's get together and I'm going to help you get your throne back. Like, I was like, oh, here we go. All right, it's happening. And then they're like, oh, by the way, no, you have to go save the world from the goddess, the sea goddess, by the way. Also, your sort of boyfriend that you kind of like now, Wen, is now a seagull.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love Jenna's reaction when we talked about that earlier. He's a seagull. What? As you can tell, I did not finish the book. I wish I had, because I could actually understand these references.
That did make me think of Howl's Moving Castle just now, and I was just like, oh, maybe she took some
Howl's Moving Castle
like
notes.
reference.
There
from
was
that,
a lot of
yeah.
stuff in there that, like, I could see, like, inspiration from other mythology in it, and I really liked that. And there's one point where, like, I even think I wrote a note, like, is this what did I write? It was another, like, Greek reference or something like that I was just all like, is this a Greek mythology reference to this stuff? And I thought that was really cool. I was like Jenna, where at the very beginning you were kind of like, I don't want to be an empress. And then Ida comes in, she's like, I'm the true heir. And I'm like, this could have been solved so easily if she's like, you are the true heir. Good job.
Right.
Good job. Have fun. All right, look, here's the deal. I give you my backing.
Yeah.
We're good. We call this cool.
I completely support this. I don't want anything to do with it. You have fun being the empress.
Seriously.
I do wonder if the beginning part, because this was apparently a duology, but you don't necessarily have to read the second one to get like the ending of the story, because the second one apparently follows Ida and what happens with her after she ascends the throne.
And I am so much more interested in that because, yes, I want courtly intrigue. That's what I thought we were getting in this book, and I was like, oh, nothing.
I don't think it's going to be in the second, though.
Oh,
I'll read it and find out.
Let me know.
Well, didn't the whale tell her, like, what happens with Ida, though?
Jenna,
sorry, you're going to have to cut that
We're
out.
going to beep you.
Beep me out. I feel like I'm in a drug dream.
Should have read the
to a seagull, and now the whale is telling her story.
The whale knows the future.
And this is how I would have failed to my English.
Yeah, on today's quiz, Jenna has failed.
On today's quiz, what did the whale tell? Sorry, excuse me.
The whale also taught her the words.
Yep.
Oh God.
That let her swim underwater. Where she went to the tree.
Guys,
Yep,
I
the
might
tree.
have to read this book.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I recommend going back to just finish it. Just skip over all the chapters with Wen and Kaden.
Yeah, they're
then
also
just-
not important.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, don't skip the seagull part, because
That's important.
that's worth it. But yeah, no, all the love triangle. Yeah.
By the way, Megan, I liked your note when you're all like, if Wen dies, this is going to be a 1-star book for me.
And guess what? Wen died.
She immediately goes, 1 star.
Wen was like the only reason for me to even like this book, because he was just a soft cinnamon roll of a boy, and all he wanted in life was just to like play his music and not have his father pay attention to him. And then here comes this girl tracing in to be his wife, and then he has to go on this adventure and turn into a seagull, but he ended up saving her in the end.
Yeah.
And again, and then what was it? What was it? True Love's first kiss or something? True Love's kiss that brought him back? Or did he just come back?
It was like,
True
love
love
has
is-
strong magic powers or
Yeah.
whatever.
True Love, marriage.
All I could think of for when, and I don't know if you'd be able to relate to this, was just all I could think of was the Monty Python with the boy in the tower, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Like, all I want to do is sing. And it was just like, yeah, this is it. This is when, and I love him.
Poor Wen just had mommy issues is the problem.
I mean, for sure.
Lots
yeah.
of issues.
Yeah.
They all had
They
issues.
really all did.
Yeah.
They all need therapy.
Yeah.
That was actually, well, we'll get to the other book, but there was another book where that was my comment frequently, that everybody in this book needs therapy.
Oh, yeah. Is that my book?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then should we finish up and then
Oh, should we all give our
do your
ratings?
ratings? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Right.
rating. I'm pretty biased on this one. I think I gave it a 4-star.
You gave it 5, and you were like, I'm
Did I
going to
give it
reread
5?
this book. This is like my
Really?
all-time
Best book
Yeah.
ever. Reading this again.
Holy cow, what was I going through 10 months ago when I read this book?
You also didn't
I
have
did.
all our comments.
I also didn't have all the comments, and it probably was one of those because it was a new book by this new
Yeah.
author whom I love, and it was just like, yes. And I also, what you listeners don't know about me is I love aquatic stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And
You were going to be an oceanographer. It was either that
or marine biologist.
marine
yeah.
biologist. That,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It turns out I'm better at reading books than I am memorizing the periodic table of elements.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, aren't we all?
Actually, it goes.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, Marissa.
all right then. But yeah, I think that was another reason why it was just like new book. Oh my gosh, I love this, and the ocean. Yeah, I gotta say, like, going back and having reflected upon it more, it probably is now down to a 4-star. I will definitely read it again, but for the joy of it.
Yeah.
For all our comments in it.
Yeah, that, and I want to read all the comments now.
That's what I'm mostly excited for, is reading all the comments. I gave it 2 stars. It was, of these 4, it was my least favorite, but I would be interested in reading more of her stuff because she did have a lot of quotes that were absolutely just heartbreakingly beautiful. Like, they were just so good. How about you, Marissa?
I think I gave it 2.5, which is funny because of how I had to write in there. I did 2 stars and then did 0.5. But I gave it 2.5 purely because of the, like, love triangle, like, drama of it all.
Yeah.
Completely ruined it for me. if we had taken out all of that, I probably would have given it like a 3.5 to 4 star because the mythology and all of that, and like you said, it was very quotable at times.
Yeah.
That definitely drew me in, but everything else just really brought it down.
Well, after I finished this book, I gave it.
After listening to us.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, I think that I didn't finish this book. I think I put in the end of it, like, I feel bad even trying to rate this because I didn't finish it, and so I feel like I can't give a real rating on this. But I would want to read other of her books. I thought that, she isn't an author that I read, and I was like, how could she even have published it all ever? She wrote things well. It just very much read forced in something. So I want to read other books of hers. So I guess, like, if I had to rate it based off of my initial, I'm now questioning everything because people are turning into seagulls and whales are talking. But I guess I'd give it a 2 because I'd give her other works. I'd give it a go. And then probably if I could read the other works, I'd come back and read this because maybe I'd have better content.
All right. And next we're going to do Inheritance Games, which was my book. This one is about Avery, who is a high school student whose mom has passed away and she's living with her sister. And suddenly at school she gets taken out and is basically taken to Texas, where they find out that she is now the inheritor of one of a bajillionaire's estate, his entire estate, as long as she lives in his house for a year. And living in that house are four brothers. Well, living in the house are 3 brothers. So living in the house we have Grayson, Jameson, Nash, and Xander. Nash is more of a feature. He doesn't actually live there. But what was it? Jameson is the older one. Grayson is about her age, and then Xander's younger. And
Grayson's the oldest. Jameson's
Jameson
is 1 year older, and Xander is a year younger.
Ah, okay. So she's kind of in between.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Nash is just older.
And Nash is like in his
college
20s or something.
Yeah. And then basically Tobias, who is the bajillionaire, is basically like, hey, here's this giant escape room in my house where you have to figure out everything, all the secrets and why people are trying to kill you, because obviously they want his money instead of her. And that's the very bare bones, but I also did read it
a year
forever ago. So yeah, if anyone has anything else to say. Also, I did also splurge and finish the other 2. So I don't necessarily remember exactly what happens in this book because I immediately went into book 2 and 3. So it's all one book to me. So
I find it very interesting that I loved this book.
I adored this book.
This was my favorite book of the entire chunk that I had read. I immediately read 2 and then I read 3. And then 4 came out, and I haven't read 4 yet.
Me neither, yeah. I desperately want to, though.
Yeah, I definitely want to. It just hasn't happened yet, unfortunately, my TBR. But no, this was my favorite. I love this book. I find it interesting because I hate love triangles. And it definitely had that in it. And there were love triangles inside of love triangles inside of love triangles.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like thinking, was there really? But then there was kind of a love triangle with the dead girl.
So yeah,
what
there
was her name?
She
Emily.
Emily.
We
have so much to say about Emily. No, but like Avery had like a love triangle situation with like Grayson. She's like interested in Grayson, but like ends up kind of with Jameson, and then has like Xander as her best friend.
So that's the end of book 3.
No, but she's with Jameson at the end of this first book.
No, she's not.
Yes,
she is.
Yeah, she is.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, she's with Jameson at the end of this book. And she
because Grayson couldn't get over
Emily.
That's right.
And she was like, and he was like, nothing can ever happen to us because I won't do that again to Jameson. Because Grayson and Jameson did this before with Emily.
Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah.
Freaking had like a love triangle thing with this Emily girl, who is totally A from Pretty Little Liars, in case you guys are wondering. And I'm sorry. It felt very Pretty Little Liars to me. And then, yeah, and so they had this, like, love triangle before, which is how this Emily girl died, or whatever. And then they're like, we killed her.
Oh, right.
Which is really annoying and dumb.
And they didn't.
But, yeah, and then she had this, like, but I'm so attracted to both of them. but I have to make my choice and be with Jameson. And Grayson's like, yes, you've chosen Jameson, so there's nothing that could ever happen between us. But, like, then continues to, like, have, like, weird little sexual tension moments.
Oh, for sure.
Was annoying.
He, like, keeps checking in on her and being like, hey, how about now?
Also in this massive house that supposedly spans a bunch of acres and has hundreds and hundreds of rooms. And they're like, oh, don't worry, you won't see anybody the year that you're here. She is constantly running into Grayson and Jameson. Suddenly.
It's a K-drama.
I mean, okay. So speaking of, so not quite K-dramas, but J-dramas. I don't know if any of you have heard of a show called Atashinchi no Danshi.
Nope.
Highly recommend it. Hysterical show, but it is also a love triangle. And it was almost plot device for plot device, this book.
I mean, I will say this book is very much a very common trope.
Yeah.
The entire, like, hey, from nothing, suddenly now you get, like, what was it?
It was like 4
Knives Out. Knives Out is basically it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, because of that, it kind of took a little bit of the joy away from me because it didn't feel like there was a new spin on it. Or if there was a new spin, it was Emily, and I was so sick of hearing about Emily
Freaking Emily.
Second time I heard her name.
We totally spoiled this already. We should have built it up about how they built it up with her, like, and then there was Rebecca, and Rebecca hinted towards this other woman that was interesting in their lives, and what was Rebecca's girlfriend?
I don't remember.
Thea?
Yeah, Thea, who's like, oh, you're just another girl. And then it just built up for about half of the book, and then it's like, let me talk about Emily every other chapter.
Yep.
It was great reading this last because I got to see everybody's comments, and all of us had the same sort of comments when it came to Emily. Like, all of us were like, this again? This? No more. I think I wrote ugh multiple times. Both for the love triangle, because I am definitely not a fan of love triangles. And then for Emily, we'll get to ratings later, but Emily had a big impact upon my rating.
Yeah, Emily was annoying.
I described this book as Pretty Little Liars meets Princess Diaries. Because every time she had to get, like, dressed up for the, like, whatever balls or whatever they were having, I just imagined all the Princess Diaries stuff. I'm pretty sure I made Princess Diaries reference like twice in my annotations.
You did. I loved it.
But yeah, so it was like, I'll be honest, you guys are talking about all the like love triangles and stuff like that. I blacked out on all of that because I was just so intrigued by the mystery of it all. That every time like the romance came up, I was like, whatever, romance. And like kept reading until I got to like more like puzzles to solve and what does this mean? What does that mean? And that's why Xander was my favorite.
Xander's the best.
Xander's the best.
Xander was my favorite because he was not, I don't know if he ends up being, but he was not a love interest, and he was just kind of like a little bit autistic and a little bit just more interested in the puzzles as well. And I was like,
what does he say? I'm a Ruth Goldberg machine. I'm a human Ruth Goldberg machine.
Yeah.
I loved him.
I was like, so it was like, when it was her and Xander just trying to figure out this mystery together, I was all like, yeah, like this part of the book. And then like, sometimes Jameson would do something like, oh, that was cool. Or Grayson would say something. I really didn't like Grayson.
Yeah, Grayson was just the stoic jerk.
Also, we didn't mention her sister at all.
Oh my god.
Her sister was awesome, yeah.
And her sister annoyed me at the beginning because of her, like, abusive relationship that she had she wanted to get out of. But her sister ended up being really cool.
Yeah.
And I liked that she was goth, and she was very explicitly goth in it. But, yeah, I think just every time, like, anything came up with, like, Grayson or Jameson or anything like that, I was just, like, much like Beneath the Haunting Sea, I was just kind of, like, black out for a little bit and then come back to the interesting stuff.
For Xander, my favorite part of Xander was him talking about scones, and he was like, I made scones, and if I hate you, you get the lemon scone. And that's me because I hate lemon. Like, I hate lemon flavored, like, baked goods, and I'm like, you and me, Xander.
We got you.
You and me.
Like, here's scones. You can't have any of the blueberry ones. Those are my favorite. I loved it.
But the lemon ones, only if I hate you.
Yes. Guys, at the ending of the first book, because I know you guys have the other ones, I have
yeah.
not. The ending of the first book is like, okay, Xander's actually part of Mystery Part 2. And I was like, now I want to read the next book because Xander was my favorite.
I have them both if you would like to read them.
Honestly, like, I would say each book gets more interesting with their mystery.
I
and
agree.
I read them for the mystery. The mysteries were cool. The puzzles were awesome. Xander's amazing. I love Xander. I like the characters too because I like that each character was unique. It's so easy for authors to write like, oh, all of these characters are totally different except for they're just same versions of the same character. And like, the stoic boy and then the other awkwardly like stoic boy. And then this cute boy that isn't quite as stoic but still kind of stoic. Like, we had the stoic boy, we had the like drunk mess, which was Jameson. You had Nash, who was like this cowboy.
Oh my goodness,
Cowboy that just kind of was funny because it totally does take place in Texas, but for some reason, like, I forgot that all of them are Texans until Nash would come in. I'm like, wait a minute, why are you a random cowboy?
Did you do the audiobook for the last two?
No, I didn't.
Oh, because he was the only one who had a
An
Texan accent.
That's so
that's
funny.
for the
Terrible.
audio, like the narrator only did a Texan accent for him, even though all of the other boys
They're from Texas.
are from
too.
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I read the other two, and it actually, I haven't read the fourth. I really want to read the fourth, but if they had stopped at the third, they wrapped it up beautifully.
Oh yeah.
It was perfect.
It's just
It was great. So I'll read the fourth. I'm wondering if all of my opinion will change after that, but
So part of the reason why I didn't like immediately jump into the next book was because it felt so much like a CW show to me.
Oh, okay,
yes.
That I just like, you really got to be in the mood to watch a CW show, and even then, it's still a little bit rough to do so.
Oh,
Nah, man, I could watch. Well,
Yeah.
I know. Once Upon a Time is ABC, but I could watch Once Upon a Time. I watched Supernatural, all 15 seasons, and I could
But
always
both
watch.
of those
Yeah.
started off on different networks.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know. I've watched Vampire Diaries a couple times. I've watched
Vampire Diaries
Mhm.
and
The brothers, Supernatural, the stoic,
yes.
angry, gruff brothers. Vampire Diaries, the stoic, angry, gruff brothers.
Gee, the same characters read multiple times.
Grayson and Jameson, the stoic, angry, gruff brothers. Huh.
I think, yeah, I could see how it's totally a CW show.
Yeah, so that's why I
Wholeheartedly
didn't
agree.
I couldn't just jump into the next one. The mystery was cool. It was intriguing. It was fun, but it was not like a I'm going to devour this type thing.
Oh, I did. I
did,
devoured it.
yeah.
I couldn't wait. I loved it so much. But I like those type of books. I like I mean, I like the easy to reads. I like the romance. I also liked that there was a love triangle, but she also did make her choice. And it wasn't like, I'm going to be torn multiple times back and forth between these two. Like, there's moments where you're just like, really, we're still going to do this? But, like, she made her choice, you know? And, yeah, I don't know. I liked all of it. I liked how it's set up. I loved the mystery of it. I liked going into it not knowing much about it. I thought it got better as it went on. Like,
Right.
I thought each book got better and better with all of it. And I loved the characters. I loved all of the characters. I loved Libby, the little goth friend. I liked the casual, gentle cowboy Nash. I like Xander. You even like Thea and Rebecca who come in, and Thea's like originally started this out like, oh, I'm gonna hate this girl. Obviously I hated Emily.
I was going to say
she's
everyone
dead.
except Emily.
She's dead. It's fine. She's dead. But there's also, it's funny because this book, like, it really brings out, like, the lives of, like, the
Billionaires.
ridiculously rich.
Yeah.
Like, how the ridiculously rich live.
That's all I write for work is stupid rich billionaires. And so I'm just like, this is normal for me.
By the way, if I inherited this money and I had to live in a house for a year, I would not be going back to school.
Yeah, right?
Especially a school where, like, apparently you're gonna go there and everybody's gonna hate you while you're there.
Right,
Like,
right.
I'll be homeschooled, that's fine.
Yeah.
You have a giant target on your back? Let's send you to high school.
Yeah, bring me a tutor, that'll be fine. Like,
But
Yeah.
get my GED.
barely any of the story took place at school.
Right.
No,
it was
didn't.
mostly just
Yeah.
interactions with her and Xander. And I was
And
just
to
like,
introduce Thea.
And to
That's
introduce
what
Thea,
it was.
yeah.
I think that's
Alright.
all it was to introduce her.
Yeah.
And that was fine, but it was just kind of one of those, like, oh, and she's going to school still.
I think the only part of this that really bothered me that it's hard to write into it's not like super hard. People do it all the time. But a lot of the puzzles, as the author, you weren't able to work out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a handful that I was able to, but a lot of them, it's like you needed one of the Hawthorne brothers to be like, oh, that's why he did this, because he has this. And but they even make a moment, they make comments about, like, sorry, you're just, what they say, you're the glass queen or something.
The glass ballerina.
Glass ballerina in this. You're the tool. You're not the player. It wasn't written for you to understand. And so it's like, she is the reason that she was brought in. Like, first of all, like, Tobias Hawthorne would have been horrible to play any games with because he was so far ahead of everyone else.
Right.
But he would have been so fascinating to talk to because he was able to, like, break things down and put, like, little games everywhere. And so that's something we didn't talk about in this. Like, the old man, Tobias Hawthorne, the grandfather who died, who left them all this money, like, every Sunday he sat down and would make them, like, solve these riddles and puzzles and stuff like that and, like, kind of compete against each other and stuff like that. And so that's essentially what happened was when he died, he built this puzzle into this will, but didn't make it super obvious. And so all the brothers are like, there's a reason this happened. I have to figure out what's going on. And that's what starts down this, like, this whole story is his, like, puzzles inside of puzzles, which was the fun part to read. But I just wish things had been able to be solved on your own. Like, if you paid attention to the little things, you could look at it and be like, oh my god, I know what it is, you know?
I, for the life of me, cannot remember why she was chosen versus, like, everybody else.
Her name.
It was her name.
It was her name.
Okay.
It was her name. That's it.
Okay.
It's
That's
like
right, because he heard her mom or whatever in a diner or something like that or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until you get to the second book.
There's more involved.
Okay.
Oh, of course.
I couldn't remember for the life of me, because I'm all like, that was the big mystery, is all her note said was, I'm sorry.
Her name is Avery Kylie Graham, and it's an anagram for a very risky gamble.
Yeah.
So it was all because of her name.
My biggest comments about this book, I know I've said a little bit, but this is the book where everyone needs therapy.
Yep.
And I do not understand, with all the money that they all have, even those who were disinherited still have money, why aren't you paying for a therapist?
Specifically the moms.
Specifically the mothers and
aunts and all of that.
Retail therapy.
That's
what they
Ah.
think. Retail therapy.
They can't let anyone know they need help. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are multiple comments throughout the book where I'm just like, guys, therapy. Especially with Jameson.
Oh.
I could not.
Oh, poor
I mean, yeah. Well, and Grayson too for the same kind of the trauma that they both hold on to, but like Jameson because like alcoholism is his boon, and I don't accept that. Alcoholism is not a way to treat. Get therapy.
Yeah.
The character arc throughout the whole entire series is really good for
great.
all of everyone involved. Maybe not Grayson, but
Yeah, I felt like he didn't do much other than just kind of accept
he grumbled a
that.
lot.
Yeah, he grumbled a lot.
He just grumbled.
And then would randomly tell them in Latin that they must protect her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. So, all right. Let's start with Angela. What was your rating on this book?
So it was a 3 because 1, love triangle. I'm just so sick of it. 2, I was really disappointed. Like you say, there's a lot of puzzles, but there really weren't. It was like there were puzzles happening, but okay. So-and-so walks up to this wall, and then they flip the switch, and then they do this, and then they do this, and suddenly a mysterious door is open. Like, why couldn't we see the puzzle? Why couldn't we have the details to work it out? Like you had said, Jenna, like, why don't we get more of this? Like, there was the overarching mystery that we're trying to figure out, but, I mean, a big thing on the book is, like, this house full of puzzles, and, you know, lives are at stake. I never felt really like anyone's life was at stake. She got
shot at.
I mean, she got shot at, but there are 4 books. So,
she dies in the first one,
and then
story's over. Book 2 is a different Kylie.
It's a different
Well, who's her in her will? Who's taking over?
Yeah, who's gonna take over? Yeah. So it was like, I mean, there was some tension, yes, but it just wasn't. They made it sound like the house itself was going to be a danger, and it.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. It did feel like it was supposed to be like a lockbox, like you're like what was I'm thinking like an Indiana Jones style tomb or something where you walk down this. Hang on, what book did I literally just read where this was a thing?
I'm sorry, but are you thinking of like Dungeons and Dragons where you do a dungeon crawl with a bunch of mysteries?
I mean, but it's like that. It made it sound like here's an escape room, like
House of Roots and Ruin was exactly that, where the house will kind of kill you. Okay, Jenna. Sorry. Finish your thought.
Oh, I was gonna say. I mean, that was kind of why I did that. Is just like the love triangle, and then Emily played a huge part of that. She was the MacGuffin to end all MacGuffins. And I was tired of it. All right.
Marissa, what was your rating?
I believe, so when I wrote it down and read it, I gave it 4 stars. I guess I'll still stick with it. I think it's a low 4 stars for me, mostly because of the CW feel of all the drama in it. But it was intriguing. It was a easy read. It didn't feel too challenging or anything, and I think it was the one I finished the quickest. So.
Yeah. Definitely for me as well. All right, and Jenna, what about you?
I give it 4 stars as well. I gave it 4 stars before I read the other 2 books. I think I'd probably bump it up to 4.5. I liked it a lot. I don't know if it's particularly a 5-star read, but I loved it.
Yeah, I actually, same with you. After having read the entire series, I would even bump mine up to a 5-star and would recommend this to anyone who likes mysteries, anything like that, anything with intrigue stuff. So, yeah. All right, Marissa, tell us about your book.
All right, so my book is Legends and Lattes, and this is a book of what happens when an adventurer in a D&D campaign is done adventuring and decides to open a coffee shop in a fictional world. This is kind of a brawler of the adventure group, and the story starts off with her getting an item from her last adventure that she does with her group, and then she decides to move to the city to open a coffee shop. And the entire book is basically how to build and open and manage a coffee shop in a fantasy setting. And there's a little bit of like pushback to some degree of like there's kind of this gang that's trying to extort her and everything like that. Yeah. But for the most part, it's just a kind of, I think it's described as like a cozy read or something like that, where you're just not high stakes, just kind of sit back, relax, and enjoy a cute little story.
I like on the back it says, high fantasy, low stakes.
Yeah, very much so. So, what did you guys think of it?
I liked it. This would be my second favorite of these. It was a cozy read. It was very easy for me to read. I think that the fact that it was a fantasy world allowed me to get past the fact that they didn't really know how to run a coffee shop.
She's a barbarian.
Yeah, she's a barbarian. And they wrote it, there's the thing. I worked in a tea and coffee shop, so I understand things that most people probably wouldn't if they hadn't worked in that. Me and Angela did together. So there were points where I was just like, yeah, that's not right, but it's fine, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna totally, they decided that latte was named after a gnome, so it's fine. I'm just gonna...
That's not what a latte actually is, but sure, we'll take it.
Yeah.
No, it was the same with me. Like,
because it was fantasy, I was able to be like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna nitpick you because this is a very fantasy world. Whereas if this had been written of, an assassin in New York City decides that they want to go live in Bohunk Town, middle of nowhere, and open a coffee shop, and they didn't know how to open a coffee shop, I'd be like, have you ever drank coffee? Like,
do you know how much it costs to run a coffee shop?
Right. But I loved it. It was easy to read. It was fine. That being said, I always find it interesting when men write lesbian relationships. So I cared nothing for the romance in this because it was just like, there is no romance. We're not even going to talk about it. Oh wait, I want it to be a lesbian romance. Let me suddenly make this seem like this is going romantic, but it's not romantic at all. But let me hint towards it. Oh, and we're together for no reason, but nothing's ever done about it except for a single kiss. Like, which was ironic, because usually a man writes a lesbian romance, they're like, oh, and then she walked in no clothing, and we're just going to have a pillow fight in our bras and underwear. Like, so it was very interesting to me to read it that way. But I liked it. I love Thimble.
Oh my gosh, my favorite character, yes.
Thimble, the little ratkin who does all the baking, was my favorite, and I made notes in there, guys. I was like, why did I hear Ryan?
Yes.
I literally heard, I mean, we're all part of a D&D campaign, and I heard our DM making the little Thimble's voice every time he'd be like,
Oh.
I'm not going to be able to unhear that now.
But yeah, it was very high fantasy, very low stakes, and I found myself singing, Welcome to the Family Madrigal every time they talk about the Madrigal. right. But it was an easy read, and I liked it. I enjoyed the story overall. And it's my dream. I want to go retire and open a coffee shop somewhere and serve tea and coffee and baked goods and
I'm right there with you.
And have nothing ever bad ever happen. Fine.
What about you, Angela?
Oh man, it was so cute and comforting. And I'm trying to remember about when I read it, because I do remember drinking a lot of tea and coffee as I was reading it. And we're going to pass over the same thing that Jenna mentioned of just like, it was very hard for both of us to be like, that's not how coffee works. I think there was a comment that you had left, Marissa, that's like, it's high fantasy when someone who takes their first sip of coffee is automatically in love with it. Black coffee. Just a plain black coffee. I was dying. And I'm like, yep, nope, entirely accurate. But beyond so much fun, there were moments where they were trying to build some high tension that didn't really have any payoff, which kind of irked me a little bit. I'm just like, but come on, if you're going to do that, then let's do it. But then it would come back to the cute and cozy, and Thimble would come out with some new baked good that to us in our world is very familiar, but to them it's new. Like when it comes out with the cinnamon rolls, and suddenly everyone's coming for the cinnamon rolls, and the Madrigal is like, yeah, you're going to give me a dozen cinnamon rolls.
I feel that. I want a dozen cinnamon rolls.
Oh, for sure. That solves all problems.
With my coffee.
Yep.
Except for I actually want a real latte. With vanilla. Because you need sugar with coffee. Yeah.
For the record, the coffees they make in these are not lattes. They are café au lait.
Yes.
They are, it is where you have 2/3 coffee and 1/3 milk, where a latte is steamed milk with shots of espresso.
And foam. It has to have the right...
foam, yes.
Yeah, you have to have the right, amount of foam to milk to coffee for it to be a latte. Because it changes. It's also a cappuccino, which has foam to milk. Yes.
So, but I say that only because if anybody out there listening actually wants to have coffee the way that it's described, that's what you want to order as a café au lait.
Yeah.
Because it is good. That's how I like to drink my coffee. Yeah. So I highly recommend grab a cinnamon roll, make yourself a café au lait, super easy, and sit down and read this comforting book, Legends and Lattes.
I love you.
Podcast voice.
I love your podcast voice. Megan.
I also adored this book. This was very much, very, right below the Inheritance Games on, the tier of these, all 4 books. I love a good cozy book. I actually, after reading this, I was like, I just want to read a bunch more cozy books. Low stakes is kind of what, with stress of life right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind a little bit more just cozy, good old reads. Some slow burn romances in there. So yeah, I really loved it. I loved the descriptions as someone who does not drink coffee or has never worked in a coffee shop. I was blissfully unaware outside of the notes that you guys left. I got it after Marissa and after Angela. So I got both notes of some knowledge, I guess. But yeah, the whole thing about, he tastes the coffee first, and I was like, nope, that's not a reaction.
Yes.
But yeah, I loved all the characters. I loved that, honestly, the ending was also very good for me. There was an issue. They solved the issue. Everyone came together. Found family.
It was
one of my favorites. They all came together and basically what happened is cafe burns down
Mm-hmm.
because due to some poor choices on the sort of bad guy's part.
Also, poor choices on the main character's part, because she could have solved all of this by not being so obvious that this was important.
Right. What was it? The Sculver's Stone?
Scalver's Stone?
Yeah.
Yeah. If she had just been like, yeah, I also want some treasure, but mainly I want that, then he wouldn't have been like,
so what is it? What
is
this
I must
mysterious-
know what this Scalver's Stone is.
Yeah, he did his own research and knew that it brought luck or whatever.
Yeah.
But turns out the translation is wrong. It's not luck and it's family or whatever. But yeah, they all came together, they rebuilt the cafe and made it even better. And I just loved the climax and the ending. I didn't want a big ol' climactic ending. I wanted just something simple and easy and just fun and simple. I said simple so many times. But yeah, it was, take a drink. Yeah, I loved it. It is what it is.
I think you guys enjoyed this book more than I did, which is funny because it was my book. It was very much a cozy read, and I get it. It was supposed to be low stakes. I found that a little bit boring at times.
Yeah.
Where it made it very difficult for me to pick it up and finish it, because I was just like, I've got nothing that I'm looking forward to with reading this book. It's just okay, I'm reading about them opening a coffee shop. And she's going to build a bar for the coffee shop. And she's waiting on her order for the coffee shop. And the characters, like you said, loved the characters throughout it. Cal was my favorite because he was just that grumpy old gruff.
He reminded me of Dad. Not that my dad's grumpy or gruff.
No.
It was my dad's a
handyman.
carpenter and like a handyman, and he can do just about anything. Like, and there's a point where he's like, yeah, I've never done roofs before. She's like, but you can figure it out. He's like, and I'm like, yep, that's Dad.
Yep.
That's my dad.
I think the thing that I liked about Cal, and I wanted to write a note in there, but I realized none of you guys would have understood it because you don't watch Critical Role as much as I do. But he reminded me a little bit of like a more reserved Chetney. And for those that are listening and do understand that reference, because Chetney is the woodworker, like he's this like little old gnome that just like makes stuff.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I think there's more references that I had for Critical Role for this because it is a high fantasy, like after D&D stuff, but I didn't get to it. But yeah, the characters I loved them all because they didn't really speak. They just kind of were like, take my treats that I made. Do you approve? Everybody approves. Good. I'm gonna keep working.
Yeah.
But I agree with Jenna. Romance did not feel like a romance at all.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Nothing about it was, and I think that's part of why Megan got it for me, honestly.
That is 100% why I got it for you. I also wanted to read, I pulled a Jenna.
Yeah.
I wanted to read it, and I thought, it's sapphic, I'll give it to Marissa.
There you go. And, so I got it, and I was thinking I was like, well, maybe it's low stakes for, like, all the adventure stuff, but there's a romance in it, maybe it'll be, like, cool, like, quippy banter and all that, and it wasn't.
It was like the sneeze of a romance.
Yeah, exactly.
The gentle whisper.
And like Angela said, every time it would build something up, and I'd be like, oh, something's gonna happen. Nothing happened.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna sit back and keep reading about coffee.
I wish there had been more romance. If the romance had been better, it would have made it a much better book to me.
I wish the gang was more prevalent in it, like the Madrigal and stuff like that. Other than, like, every once in a while, they just come up and be like, you owe us money, or you'll regret it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that was it.
The solution to that, though, was
my
so
God.
funny.
Oh
she
my
gave
gosh.
the Madrigal, the leader, a bunch of cinnamon rolls, and the leader was like, yes, this is good payment.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's all I want. You don't have to give me money. Just give me the cinnamon roll.
And I'm pretty sure it's like either a daily or a weekly delivery too, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like 6 cinnamon rolls a day, or a dozen a week, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm sure it was great for what it was written for. Just as I was reading it, I felt like I had no reason to come back and pick it up. And I was even texting Jenna when I was reading it, like, I need to finish this before we get to our exchange, and I just have no motivation to do so.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think that I liked it more because it was my last read too. And I didn't enjoy the Beneath the Haunting Sea, and I couldn't finish that one. And then this one was just so easy that I could just, like, fly through it. And it made it a little easier for me to just change it. But it's been nice for me, because I had Rory Thorn, which was hard to finish, and then Inheritance Game, which was great, and then Beneath the Haunting Sea, which was hard, and Legends of Lattes, which was great. So it's like every other one was easy.
Right.
What are the ratings?
That's what I was about to ask you, because you haven't started the ratings yet, Jenna.
Okay, so I think that for this I gave it a 4. I liked this book a lot. I wish that the romance had been better. I'm also kind of picky and don't want to read a man write a lesbian romance. Yeah, I think I'd give it a 4.
We actually didn't write any of our reviews in the back of
There
the
was
book.
no room.
There was no room at all.
None.
Yeah, we could just kind of shove it on the last two pages or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like, Marissa, you had like a sentence at the end, and I tried to sneak in.
Well, I didn't realize we were doing those. So
yeah.
It was really hard for the first book because I didn't understand the parameters of
Can
the
we just
annotation.
talk about how hard it is to actually put a pen to a book for the first time?
Nope.
No.
I've been doing this, so the reason I wanted to do it with you guys was because I do it with one of my friends.
Yeah.
And we have, I think I counted them, we have like 9 books that we've annotated to each other now. So, and I wanted to do it with you guys just because I love all of your opinions. We're all avid readers. But I should have told you basically what I do first.
Yeah.
And then been like, yes, here's how I do it. Feel free to follow along or do as you do kind of thing. So I was just like, hey guys, let's annotate. You're like, okay. And then we did. And
the first time I put the pen to the book, I was like, Jenna, it'll be okay. It's fine. It's fine. You can write in a book. It's okay. And it was the hardest thing for me to actually write in a book.
I felt weird whenever I'd bring it out into public. Like when I was reading Rory Thorn, I'd go get like my oil change or something. So I'd walk down to the Starbucks or whatever to get something to drink while it was happening, and I'd read it, and I felt weird, like, taking out the pen and writing in a book in front of,
like a student.
Yeah.
Student.
Anyway, so rating-wise, I think I gave it a 4, because I enjoyed it, I liked it. I do wish the romance had been better, and, but I loved the found family, I liked all the characters, and it made me remember that I just want to go and retire and open a coffee shop and never be bothered by anyone with books, which is, I'm pretty sure what the second book's about.
Bookshops and bone dogs.
Yeah. What about you, Angela?
It's between a 3 and a 4, and I don't remember which one I gave it, but I know it was pretty much for similar reasons. Where just like the romance was sorely lacking, and then for the same reason, Marissa, just that the tension just like it would build. I'm like, okay, we got a fight coming, and then nothing. Cinnamon rolls solve everything. Which, I mean, is kind of fun, and for it to be a soft read, that's one thing, but it's like, why build this tension? It's not going to go anywhere. So that lessened the rating for me. But I definitely do recommend it.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 4, maybe 4.5, maybe 4.25. It wasn't my favorite. I think I liked the Inheritance Games better, but just for what it was and kind of what I needed at that time, without realizing it, really bumped it up for me. Just having a simple, cozy book to enjoy, and this was one. All of the others I finished the day of or the day before we met up to exchange. This one I immediately picked up after I gave it, because this is the one I wanted to read. So I definitely read this one a lot faster and a lot quicker than all of the others.
I would probably give this one a 3. Because of that, I felt pretty bored sometimes during it. And I understand that's kind of what the book was about, was not high stakes and not a lot of tension or anything like that. But I need a little bit of that to get me through it, and like I said, to pick it up and want to keep reading it. And then, like we said, with the romance, there was no romance in it. It would have been better without a romance. And it's so sad, because I'll say that about a lot of, heterosexual romance books. Like, this would have been better without the romance. It feels weird saying that about a sapphic novel.
You didn't get a romance,
and
you wanted it. Jenna, what is your ranking of all 4 books?
Inheritance Games, and then Legends of Lattes, and then Rory Thorn, and then Beneath the Haunting Sea, only because I didn't finish it. I feel like either Rory Thorn or Beneath the Haunting Sea could probably die. Actually, let's put Beneath the Haunting Sea above. We'll put that at 3, because apparently there's whales and boys turning into seagulls. So I'm just going to pop that above Rory Thorn there.
All right. Angela.
Beneath the Haunting Sea, Legends and Lattes, Inheritance Games, and Rory Thorn.
Yep. I'm similar to Jenna, where I am The Inheritance Games, Legends and Lattes, Rory Thorn, and Beneath the Haunting Sea. And Marissa.
I think I'd be The Inheritance Games, probably actually Rory Thorn, Legends and Lattes, and then Beneath the Haunting Sea. Yeah, I'll stick with that one.
This is so
I'll be
interesting.
honest, because the last three were very similar ratings to me for three very different reasons. So they're almost like, as I was thinking about how I would tier it, they would constantly shift. Because for different reasons, I liked one over the other every time I thought of something. So honestly, Inheritance Games just went above all the rest of them for me, and then the other three tied for second.
Yeah. It's so interesting. This is why I like that we're able to like do something like this.
Yes.
So that way you can see the differences of like what we enjoy and what, you know, works with ourselves and in each other. So,
And what we
it's pretty
think
cool.
each other would like versus what they
Yeah.
actually end up liking.
Especially because since we gifted these to each other,
Right?
Yeah.
and how interesting it is that, how it all worked out in the end. Okay. So for next year, for 2024, we all picked our own books. And start with Jenna. What book did we choose?
So we're reading from my book, A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed.
I actually just finished her A Wolf and the Woodsman book maybe a month ago, and it was really good.
Oh, I'm excited. I've seen it all over, Pinterest, actually, weirdly for me. That's why I see it a lot. But it's been all over Pinterest, and I'm like, I want to read that. So
Yeah. And Angela.
My book is Eon, Dragon Eye Reborn by Allison Goodman. This one was actually a recommendation of a YouTube essayist, and I just could not stop thinking about it ever since. He has very high praise for it, and I feel horrible that I cannot remember his name, so I can't plug it. But yeah, I'm very excited because dragons, and I love dragons, and it's been a long time since I've read a good dragon book.
Have you read Fourth Wing?
No.
Okay.
I have not had access to it.
I haven't.
Yeah, that's because you all were reading it.
All right. One of my books that was chosen was The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, and that is Shannon Chakraborty, which actually fits because Jenna last year for Christmas gave me City of Brass.
Yeah.
So now I'm interested to go into another book of hers that is not part of that realm.
That's why I voted for it, because I love City of Brass. So
Same author.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm super excited.
So now, here's the thing. When we all voted for Marissa's book, there was 3 books, and 4 books? 3 books, and we all voted for a different book. So we said to Marissa that you were going to choose it yourself. So which book did you choose?
Which, as you guys all know, I love having to make choices.
The pressure is on.
So the one I ended up going with, I went with basically because it was something in my mind for a while that I thought about either doing for just the Brawlers Book Guild as a book for all of us to read, or as a swap one. So I chose The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri.
Ooh, who's the one who voted for that one?
Angela.
Okay.
Which is funny because I think that I originally told Marissa, I need you to read this book because it's
No, so here's the thing is that I already knew about it though, because I had already seen it. And you said, I picked this up, I need you to read this. I'm like, oh, I already saw that and I wanted to read it. Haven't read it yet. And then Angela voted for it, and so when I thought about it, I was like, well, I already know Jenna wants to read it, so in my mind that was already 2 votes for it.
perfect.
I'm excited.
All right. And so now that we know what we're reading, everyone else can join us next year in reading our books with us.
Yeah.
And any last words for...
No, this was fun though. It seems weird to write in books, but like if you have friends that like have like-minded books and you both want to read the same book, I highly recommend it. I found myself after I read like books like this, when I'd read another book, I'd be wanting to jot things down to like whoever was going to read the next book. But I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to give this to, so I'm not really. And then I'd like text Megan, like, so you're reading Fourth Wing, let's talk about it. So you're reading this book, let's talk about it. Because I wasn't writing little annotations for her.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend it. It's fun.
All right. Well, as always, we're going to sign off with a quote. Our quote for today is going to be I enjoy sharing my books as I do my friends, asking only that you treat them well and see them safely home. And that's by Ernest Morgan. So that fits with us because we're passing each other our books, and yeah.
I love it.
So, all right, thanks for listening, and thanks, Angela, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. Hopefully we can do it next year at the end as well.
Yeah.
All right, signing off. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, and see you next year.
See you next
Yeah,
year.
bye guys.